What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Before I get started with the title of this video, I just want to say big thank you to all my supporters on Instagram. Just hit 30,000 followers, so I appreciate that. All the support, everybody who's donated to the channel, that really helps to help me travel and site maintenance, different things. And I'm trying to do more things where I get some help so it can free me up to make more and more commentary videos and people to help me edit and write, things like that. So I really appreciate any donation, small or big. Now, you guys see the title of the video, and don't get it twisted. The Canelo, I was born ready. The Eagle Valley video is still coming. It's just, I've been busy. I had to go to Vegas for that Charlo Brothers triple header, and now I'm just now getting caught up. So Canelo vacated his WBC belt, I believe, the week before that fight, and then I end up having to travel and trying to work on the footage and just different things like that, work on the site. So I'm just getting caught up. I will do that Eagle Valley video talking about Canelo vacating. I did a brief one just announcing the news, and I want to go a little bit more in depth. Now, you guys see this. This is an Ego Rumor Mill video. What I do in Rumor Mill, try to give you guys some of the latest happenings, not official yet, so you don't bank everything on this, but it's there's some indication, some source that is saying this may be the case. Now, they're talking about SAUL Canelo Alvarez possibly fighting Liam Smith, and I want to talk about that. First of all, I just think that's a terrible idea and that's really what I'm going to talk about. I personally don't really want to see Canelo versus Liam Smith. Now, first of all, some of you guys are probably thinking, who is Liam Smith? You know what I mean? Unless you're from the UK, you might not have heard of him. He's not like a well-known name or commodity in the sport. He is currently a champion. This is BoxRec. He's 22-0 with 1 draw, and he has 12 knockouts. So just off the pure BoxRec, that's not really a mega fight, right? You look at it, 52% knockout ratio. I mean, it's not just about knockouts, but you got to find what is the selling point just because he's a champion. And see, to me, when it comes to a championship level fight and unifications, there's a lot of belts in boxing, period. I'm just going to put it out there straight away. A lot of belts in boxing. And I'm more concerned with the quality of fighter, because there's several belts. Sometimes they have the regular champion, the super champion, the interim champion, the Shawn Michaels Intercontinental Sweet Chin Music champion. They got a lot of champions in various belts. Sometimes people hold, like Gennady guys and Danny Jacobs, they both have a version of the WBA belt. And that's what happens with this current state of boxing. So I care more about pedigree. And Liam Smith, even though he's a champion, like, who is he really beat? You look at the guy David Haye fought, he wasn't necessarily a champion, but he was undefeated. So that's why I don't care about just purely off of belts and undefeated records, because you can have, like, Canelo, at the time he fought Mayweather when he was 23, Canelo had almost as many fights as Floyd Mayweather. But you look at the level of opposition and when each fighter faced those different people, and Mayweather's resume, even though they both had in the 40s of opponents or wins or whatever, is a complete contrast in terms of the quality of opposition. At the point where Canelo fought Mayweather, Mayweather had beaten the likes of Ricky Hatton, Oscar De La Hoya, Diego Corrales, Arturo Gatti, versus Canelo at that point, he had beaten Trout, Jose Miguel Cotto's brother, Matthew Hatton, Ryan Rose, Josecito Lopez. You know what I mean? Some run-of-the-mill guys, some good guys, but it was nowhere near the body count. So I can't, at this, as just being 100% real, I can't care off of just undefeated records or who's a champion, because again, there's a lot of different versions of different belts, which is another reason the Liam Smith fight is not appealing. I mean, his nickname is Beefy. See, that's another reason I don't want to see this fight. I do not want to see a grown man with a nickname of Beefy fight anybody. That sounds like some, I don't know, pause. That sounds like some Chef Boyardee. Beefy, like, who came up with this nickname? That's just another reason I don't want to see the fight. So you look at it, break it down. He's a super welterweight, so 154 pounds, 5'9.5", which is roughly right around where Canelo's listed at. Canelo's listed, I believe, at 5'9". He's from Liverpool, 27 years of age, and it's just like, you look at his resume, who's he beat? He has a fight coming up tomorrow against Pre-Drag, which that sounds like he's fighting a tranny. I don't even know what Pre-Drag is. Like it sounds like a prequel to a tranny movie. I don't even know what his last name is. Who's 30-1. He's fighting Jimmy Kilrain Kelly, John Thompson, David Ezekiel Romero, Zoltan Serra, Robert Talarek, Jason Wellborn. That sounds like Matt Damon, like Born Supremacy or something. Mark Thompson, Eric Maxwell. I mean, who are any of these people, to be honest? So he fought for vacant titles right here, and then he fought for the WBO regular belt. It's just, I mean, who is this? So again, this is not set in stone, but I think it is a bad move if Canelo is actually looking at Liam Smith. Me personally, I'd rather see him fight Liam Neeson, the actor from the Taken movies. I don't know who you are, but give my daughter back, or I will find you, and I will kill you. I'd rather see him fight Liam Neeson than Liam Smith, just because, I mean, what's his background? What's his pedigree? How much, and it's funny because a lot of times the fans say things like, oh, Canelo, he doesn't need to rematch Edeslandi Lara. Lara can't sell. He only did 400,000 in Ivanis Matarosa rematch. So what kind of numbers is this dude doing? Liam Smith, what kind of numbers he done? When did he have 1 million plus cable views in the States? The UK is different because the UK fans are very loyal. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's a good look. Another reason it's not a good look is the chronological order. You got to look at it. You look at the situation. Canelo, first of all, he took on a welterweight who was considered chinny in Amir Khan. Didn't look great in the fight. He had to search and get his timing down. You know, Khan's a fast starter, and the speed, he had to slow him down and stuff like that. So I had him losing up until the point of the stoppage, even though the judges, 2 of the 3 judges, had it a different way. But Khan was clearly winning the fight up until the stoppage. I think Canelo slowed the gap and won the last 2 rounds, 5 and 6, and that 6 was where he ended it. But nonetheless, you fought a welterweight, and you didn't even fight a champion welterweight or a welterweight who had even really done much at welterweight. You look at Amir Khan, he had some nice wins, like the Collazo win is nice. Collazo's a veteran, but I mean, what was Collazo's biggest win going into the Khan fight? Victor Ortiz, who was on like a 15-month layoff with a broken jaw, and he beat him and then got a Khan shot. I mean, these are just facts. Collazo's a good fighter. You can argue he won versus Berto Hatton, but those were years ago. You know what I mean? And the only thing he had really done in recent memory is he was the underdog versus Victor Ortiz, who again was coming off of a long layoff where he broke his jaw or got his jaw broken in the Josito Lopez fight, and then he stopped him. Who, you know what I mean? Ortiz, who's kind of a known quitter, he stopped him in the 2nd round, if I'm not mistaken. Then you look at Devin Alexander. Devin Alexander's solid, but Sean Porter had already recently beat and taken and lifted that belt from Devin Alexander. So Khan fought the beltless version of Devin Alexander, and he looked spectacular in that fight. So I give it to Khan for that particular performance. He usually does really good against southpaws. And then other than that, he fought Chris Algieri, who was coming off a 6 knockdown Pacquiao loss, right? And a tough fight with Ruslan Provodnikov, right? And then Khan fought him and gave him work, you know what I mean? Gave him a tough fight. I did have Khan winning that fight too, but it wasn't like easy work type of fight. Then Khan was on another long layoff, searching for a big fight with Mayweather or Pacquiao. And then he just jumped straight away up to 155, so there's no excuses, bit off more than he could chew, gave Canelo some problems, and he got knocked out. That's really what I seen happen, right? So that's not really impressive. And then on top of that, you knew Golovkin was the mandatory, and Golovkin's going all crazy on the internet, like, give me my belts, and post-fight, after he knocked out Dominic Wade, that's the fight that the fans are requesting, that's the fight that the fans want to see. And then you say, oh, I'm not going to be rushed by artificial deadlines, even though you knew about this in December, that Golovkin was your mandatory after your voluntary defense, and you just dropped the belt, and it opened the floodgates to a lot of criticism. So to go from that to a guy like Liam Smith, I think that's That's a bad look, because the names that I've heard are Gabe Rosado or Liam Smith. And even Gabe Rosado, I met him. He's a very cool dude. But when I look at it from a factual perspective, Gabe Rosado, he already said he doesn't want to come down to 55 because that would be a little bit strenuous on his body, even though he wants to fight Canelo. So that's already an issue. So if Gabe Rosado doesn't want to come to 155, then what are you going to fight at 158, 159? And if that's the case, why would you make an exception for Gabe Rosado but won't make it for Triple G? And, you know what I mean? Why wouldn't you fight Triple G at 158, 159, or whatever the situation is? And furthermore, Gabe Rosado has really had this is facts, he had like one win in the last 6 years or so. He lost, to Gabe's credit, he took on tall order after tall order. He was fighting the guys like J. Leon Love and Peter Quillen and David Lemieux and Gennady Golovkin back to back to back. So he didn't give himself any kind of breaks, and he was fighting top level competition, the Charlo brother, things like that. But for a period of probably like 5 or 6 years, he had no wins. And I'm not talking about BKB, I'm talking about in boxing. Up until recently, he teamed up with Feroz Vargas and beat Josh Clottey, who's another guy who's been kind of MIA. These are all facts that I'm talking about. You guys can literally, a Google search can corroborate what I'm talking about. So again, fighting a guy like Gabe Rosado, is that the best possible competition? Because Golden Boy, their whole bread and butter is the slogan, the best versus the best. That's what Oscar De La Hoya kept preaching, things like that. And the worst part about it for Canelo is he's in between two stacked divisions. Or actually one stacked division and another division with some certified threats. And the stacked division is 54. You got Erislandy Lara, who beat Vanes Martirosyan. And I did think he beat him. I didn't get to do a post-fight, but I was at that fight live. I thought he did enough to win. He was pot-shotting Vanes Martirosyan. Martirosyan was game, tough, and he was lacking defense, so he's getting hit with pot shots. But I liked his body work, and it was a competitive fight. But I did have Lara winning that particular fight. But you don't want to rematch Lara. You want to fight Liam Smith. You know what I mean? So if we're doing this, if a Liam Smith is a proposed option because he has a belt, so does Lara. And he gave you a tough fight where it's a black cloud, there's an asterisk. Some people thought Lara won that fight, including me. You know what I'm saying? So if we're doing it for belts, and again, like I know people are gonna do, oh, but Lara, he can't sell, he's boring. But where are Liam Smith's US stats? Where's his numbers? Where's his 1 million plus buys and stuff like that? So again, Lara is a bigger draw than a Liam Smith, at least stateside, because there's some bad blood, so you can always build up the story. Lara jumped on the stage, then they had a controversial fight, things like that. Versus Liam Smith, it was just kind of coming out of nowhere for, like, in terms of if he were to face Canelo. I would even rather see Canelo face Vanes Martirosyan. You've seen how game he was versus Lara. I don't think anyone's ever stopped him. He has a good resume. He's been in there with punchers like Willie Nelson. He's been in there with guys like Erislandy Lara twice. He's been in there with the Charlo brother. He's an Olympian. So he has experience training with Freddie Roach and different people like that. So I would even rather that than a Liam Smith. You know what I mean? And the division is just way too stacked. Like I said, Canelo is in between a very stacked division and a division with certified threats. The certified threats would be Danny Jacobs, David Lemieux, Gennady Golovkin, Peter Quillen, all those guys, because they're big. They're naturally big. So you wouldn't necessarily have a power or size advantage moving up to the full 160 where you were a champion before you vacated. And then again, you look at 54, you got the Charlo brothers. There's titles there. You know what I mean? Charlo brother just won versus Austin Trout, got a title. He says he might stick around at 54. You got Demetrius Andre, Willie Nelson. They're about to fight each other. Those are both good fights. So to me, the walls are closing in on Canelo, and he's going to be faced with a tough decision. Again, you can't drop your belt and not fight a guy like Gennady Golovkin, even though the fans want that particular fight. And then all of a sudden, you pull a guy out of nowhere like a Liam Smith, who the only saving grace you can say is that he's a champion, but he's not really a decorated champion. If you look at Erislandy Lara here, New Media, this is what I do. You look at Liam Smith and look at all the names on his resume, right? And tell me like look at their records. He beat a guy who's 6-10-1, 5-30-3, 9-22-1. These are guys he beat, 9-17-5. He beat a guy who's 25-3, Mark Thompson. just look at the level of competition. 17-1. You know what I mean? Guys have under his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. His last 6 opponents have under 20 fights. Versus if we were to look at a Edeslandi Lara, right? And then he's a champion as well, the American Dream, right? He already gave you a tough fight. His record is 23-2-2. And both of his losses are controversial. The Canelo one, and he also lost to Paul Williams, which I thought he definitely beat him. But you look at the names on his: Vanes Matarosen twice, Delvin Rodriguez, Jan Zevic, Ishe Smith, Canelo, Austin Trout, Alfredo Angulo. You know what I mean? For Freddie Hernandez, Paul Williams, Carlos Molina. He didn't look great in that fight, but it's still a person he fought. So there's really no justification to take on a guy like Liam Smith, because they're both champions. But you look at it and you tell me who has the better resume, and they're both title holders. Let me know what you guys think if Canelo were to face a guy like Liam Smith. I just don't think that would be a good move after vacating his belt. You let me know what you think. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share and like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.
You don't feel it, then it must be too real to touch. You'll never in your life try to knock the truth. The illest shit ever. Get ready, 'cause this is about to get heavy.
Trying to keep me out, trying to censor what I say, 'cause they don't like what I'm talking about. So what's wrong with the media today?
Prove I'm lying if I ain't correct.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.